Next, let's go ahead and do the same thing that we did with a cookie, except using a session variable. Again, the benefits of using a cookie over a session is that the cookie will persist from one session to another. A session, by definition, is one session with the server, and that ends when the user logs out or when they close the browser. Drupal stores session data in a custom sessions table, and by default, it doesn't store sessions for anonymous users. However, we can tell Drupal explicitly to do this. The reason why it doesn't is that if you imagine a well-trafficked site, if we created a session for every user, there would be an awful lot of session data inside of the table, and data that's probably not being used at all. So we only want to create sessions for users if there's session data to be stored. And so Drupal will look to the session variable and see if there's any information in there. And if there is, it will create a session variable. And if it's not, then it will leave the session entry out of the database. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our module directory, and we're going to open up the 7th step, which is called using sessions. Go ahead and copy the entire code and paste it over your persons.module file, overwriting everything that's there already. Using sessions is similar in structure to using cookies, except it's a simpler process because it's all done on the server side. The first part is setting the session variable, and the second part is grabbing it. So let's go ahead and scroll up to our submit function that we used in our cookie example, right here. And we've replaced out the code in this conditional here for user is anonymous with the session variable code. If you're not familiar with the idea of sessions, the goal of it is to store temporary data across multiple page loads. It's temporary because as soon as a session ends, that data goes away. So ultimately, if you want to keep that data, you'll want to store it in a more permanent location, which you can do with user save and the user data variable that we talked about in previous examples. We can access the session variables by using the session variable structure here. It's a $_ and then capitalized session, and we're setting it to a key of recent search. And we're doing just the same thing that we did with a cookie. We're just assigning this a link using the L function, and the text is the text that was submitted in the search form. And the URL is search/node/ and then the text that's being searched for. And then we're returning because, again, if the user is anonymous, we don't need to have them run through the rest of the code. The second part is to display this data somehow. So I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom where we have our hook init function. And all I've done from the previous example is replace this out with a new Drupal set message. And we're replacing this with some text that says you recently searched for. And then we're grabbing the session variable just by using the key that we assigned to it. So using session variables is very straightforward. Okay, now let's go ahead and see this in action. I'm going to go ahead and save the module and go back to the browser, and I'm going to refresh the page. So our top bit here is blank. You recently searched for, because we haven't searched for anything and stored it in the session. So I'm going to type in new search, and you see we have our you recently searched for new search right here.